All right, Grand Theft Auto 5. Now we've all seen the trailer, the gameplay trailer, the newest one, and I wanted to get everybody's thoughts in on it. Me personally, I was fucking blown away. I'm just saying, I was. Like, I expected to be impressed. I did not express, I did not just expect to just be dumbfounded by what I was seeing. I did not expect like that big a leap between 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna take the opposite approach.
Or
I expected it. Of course, I didn't expect it to that magnitude, but I expected to see something crazy because I always maintained the thought that 4 wasn't what it should have been. That
yeah,
it was still trying to fill some things out. That
yeah,
it did a lot of good things, but at the same time, we lost some stuff from San Andreas, which me and you have talked about numerous times about the certain little stuff that you lost from San Andreas going into 4.
yeah, like customizing cars and working out.
hmm But I also figured that Rockstar and Take Two, being as smart as they are, would take things from their other games to
Yeah,
improve Grand Theft Auto, such as like the shooting mechanics, which they look like they took heavily from Max Payne 3. Which, if people haven't played Max Payne 3, I suggest you go out and take it.
yeah,
Try that out because it's fantastic. So I was excited. I'm very excited about the game, but again, it's like I don't want to put them at such a high point as far as their quality, but it's just expected, man. Like they know what they're doing. They know what you want, and they gonna give it to you.
yeah. Like the features, like there, it's nothing like mind blowing, so to speak. But then when you put all the features together, you can tell it works like so well together.
hmm
Like just the way you switch characters, it goes to like this satellite view, and then it just like comes down and like these knives, and then you're playing the other character.
hmm
But what's so awesome about it though is that the characters are not just statically standing in their houses waiting for you to play them. They're still going on about their lives, and
Things are
I
happening.
thought that was awesome. Like when they dropped in on like somebody was playing Franklin, and they dropped in on Michael, and he had just got back home from bicycling. And then they dropped in on Trevor. He was in the middle of like a high speed chase with helicopters. It's, it,
Exactly.
it just looks incredible, man. Like I love the fact that it's three main characters right off the bat now instead of like three separate stories that intersect like four did,
Yeah.
and that all these characters know each other and they're all working in tandem together.
I think
Like
it's gonna be an interesting experience. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the online play, which I mean,
they're
to me, is
still
not going to be a
I'm pretty
selling
sure that's
point.
gonna be good too.
yeah
Exactly. Exactly.
the video isn't out yet, but they teased it at the end,
hmm
and you can see all these all these people playing at once, and everybody's in different sections of the city doing whatever they want to, and then somebody swoops by real fast like in the F-16, and
Exactly.
it's just
Yep.
it's kind of it's crazy. And I'm assuming that you have your own apartment or base of operations or something even when you're online, because it looks like that guy was in his own house,
hmm
and he had
And
like a money he had like money in the corner. It was like 54,000 or
hmm
something along those lines. So I'm guessing you can just like build up your own character at your own pace. I'm
Well,
and
I
guessing.
mean,
they said that the world is gonna be bigger than the worlds of Red Dead Redemption, San Andreas, and 4 combined.
Yeah, that's what they said.
crazy,
I'm like
crazy.
Yes.
But
beachfronts, mountains, the wilderness, a military base, suburbs, just you
Yeah.
name it. Just
I'm
you know
assuming
what
that military base might still be Area 53 from San Andreas.
should be instant 5 stars?
Yeah, I mean you can't get anywhere near Area 53 without being like utterly destroyed. Well, you can, but it's just not advised that you try it.
But Larry, you bring up a good point. Is something I wanted to just to throw in there as part of this discussion. Um, I heard a comment from a friend of ours, and this was about The Last of Us, but I think this is probably going to pertain to Grand Theft Auto more so, about how games can be overwhelming.
Oh yeah,
And at first when he said it, I was like, that's a stupid statement. But then I thought about it for a second, and I'm like, you know what? I do see his point. how a game can become overwhelming. Feel like there's too much to do. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I like San Andreas a lot, and I beat the story mode and everything. But I'm 100% sure that there's plenty of things I didn't do as far as not so much the side missions, but just the city in general. And the same with 4. I know there was stuff I didn't do, even though I think there was less to do in 4 than there was in San Andreas.
Oh yeah. Well,
You know, there's always just so much content that they put into those particular games. And I was just thinking when we were talking about when you said the apartment, I sat there one day and just watched all the TV on Grand Theft Auto 4.
I did that.
So I'm thinking, and then when you said something about the apartment, I was like, man, I wonder what they're gonna have on the TV stations. Because I mean, last time it was Cat Williams and Ricky Gervais. I'm like, is it gonna be Kevin Hart?
They actually added a lot to the DLC.
Really?
Because there's Republican Space Rangers.
I remember that.
I think there's more of it. Then there's I can't remember. It was like all these little weird commercials, and there were all these other weird reality shows. They added a lot, and I remember I was talking to one of my friends about it, and he was like, I never did any of that stuff. I was like, I killed an entire day in here watching it. I watched all of it.
Exactly.
I watched all of Republican Space Rangers just one day. And there's even and I like the little. I'm wondering what kind of links they're gonna throw into this game.
Mm-hmm.
And there was even, because I remember there was a commercial in Grand Theft Auto 4 that was advertising to parents saying, send your kids to boarding school, and the school was Bulworth Academy from Bully. They even showed sections from it.
Yep.
So I was like, I'm wondering how it's going to be connected to the other games.
Well, I mean, this is one of the games that you already know. There doesn't have to be much thought into whether or not you're buying it. You're going to get exactly what you're looking for and then some. It's going to be fun. It's going to be crazy. I can't wait to just take it all in. I mean, this is going to be where it's kind of like when you get that good food and everybody gets quiet around the table because everybody eating. It's going to be a lot of no Skyping, or if so, it's going to be a lot of hold on for a second.
My Facebook presence is going to die. Like I'm not going to be there.
This game
at all.
This
it's
game
gonna
made Hideo Kojima depressed.
Yeah, it depressed him because he said my game's not gonna, in terms of open world variety. He was like, our game's not gonna match up to that.
Yeah,
which kind of makes sense. I mean, you can't have Snake at the country club playing tennis or
playing yoga.
Yeah, I mean,
doing yoga or jet skiing and.
Yeah, it kind of. I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, with his world, but at the same time, you can see, he was obviously, kind of visually, and, just, conceptually stunned at what he saw.
Mm-hmm. You know what, man? A lot of the text messages that we send each other once this game comes out is going to be, what'd you do last?
Yeah, because you don't want to spoil anything.
Exactly.
But at the same time, you need to talk to your friends about this.
It's going to be a lot of okay, what's the last part you did, or what's the last mission name you did, so I can kind of see if I'm ahead of you or behind you.
And it's going to be harder to do that because the last mission you did might have been with Trevor, and the last mission I did might have been with Franklin.
But that's your problem.
Yeah, so it's going to be harder to.
Okay, did you go to this part of town? that's the question. Have you been this part of town yet? Did you play online yet? Did you mod out a car yet?
Hey, is Person X still breathing in your game?
Exactly.
I'm just playing tennis. I don't know. I'm just stuck.
I'm working on my cars today.
Larry, you had the game for 6 weeks now. There's no more tennis to be played.
So I'm working on my game right now.
Exactly. I mean, I think it's gonna be one of those couple of months games where it's just you're just doing stuff.
Yep.
I mean, the size is that's a crazy size for a game.
Yeah, it is. You can tell, even the part of the trailer when you see Franklin walk out of the marijuana dispensary or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
When he walked out of there, at first, I just kind of saw him walk out of there, and they showed how you switch between characters. And then the second time I watched it, when he stepped out onto the street, I was like, wow, the streets are the size is insane. The scale is as wide as it probably would be in real life.
Yeah, you got the three lane highways.
Yeah, the scale of the street is normally never as it actually is in real life, even in Grand Theft Auto. But you can tell it's so wide and open, and you're like, wow. How did they do all of this since 2008?
I got a question to ask. I got a question. Are like each character gonna have their different special abilities?
As
How
far
They
does
as I
have,
can tell, like when they show characters switch between them, everybody has stats, and if it's like the other San Andreas game, then you'll probably be able to train. The more you do those stats, the more they'll level up. But everybody also had a stat that said special, so I get maybe everybody has their own
yeah.
specialty that the other characters
like
have.
is a like one of the character might have like a max pain bullet time or something like that maybe?
Maybe. I mean, if
'Cause,
anybody has that, it's probably Trevor.
everybody seems to have a special. It just says special. Like so, so I'm guessing everybody has at least one stat that the other characters don't have or they're not good at.
I put it like this: if anybody's got bullet time, I'm willing to bet money it's Trevor.
Most likely.
If so, if we had to pick somebody, because we all seen what he did on that train.
Oh yes, oh man, dude. Like okay, that's the only other thing I really wanted to talk about. Like okay, like what do you think of the actual characters? They've showed enough for you to kind of get a sense of who they are, like individually. Like, do you think they're interesting? Is there anything you like particularly care about it by each of those characters yet?
I mean, I feel like your boy Trevor's gonna be a liability, but it's gonna be part of the fun.
I'm
Is to
so
see
worried.
what.
Yeah, I'm so worried that they're gonna take that cliche route where he like turns on you or something, and I'm hoping they don't do that.
Nah,
I'm hoping like at the end of that story, everybody is still essentially tight with each other because like at the end of the original San Andreas, even people that even though like people you came across and you had like some kind of problem with them or you might have done them wrong or something, like everybody essentially came in at the end to get Samuel L. Jackson.
he need to be stopped.
All emotions other than the people who turned on you and they had to go to.
Yep. Well, I mean, I think it's going to be a good dynamic as far as the dialogue. I kind of still want to see a little more about, the black guy, that Franklin.
Yeah, he has his own trailer and you can kind of tell like the main root of his story is like he's trying to, get up out of that bullshit thug life and the people around him don't want to.
Yeah, it's kind of like CJ to a degree, but
Yeah.
he's less influenced by them.
It looks like they are on Grove Street, but I can't.
Yeah, it does look like they're
I
on
can't
Grove
tell
Street.
yet. And there's a lot of that green graffiti everywhere.
Yep. But I mean, yeah, all of the characters, they have their own personalities, and I think that, just from dialogue and story-wise, I mean, Grand Theft Auto really has never really slipped ever since they started doing the story. Even when you were on Grand Theft Auto 3, the story was never bad. It's only gotten better and better, especially if you look at what they did from the ground up with like Red Dead and even Max Payne and especially L.A. Noire. So I think, it's going to be, like I said, that's one of the games where it's not really a question of if you're going to get it or not. We don't even have to have that conversation of,
Yeah.
it's going to be big. Everybody's going to get it. Like I was talking to Boyd one day about, they were talking about the sales expectations for the Xbox One, the ridiculous 1 billion thing, and I was saying, the thing about it was everybody was hating about the PlayStation 3 somehow when the 360 came out, and it was a weird jump, because they were like, oh, we're crushing the PlayStation 3 in numbers and blah blah blah, and it's like, I don't understand how everybody became on Team Xbox when everybody had a PlayStation 2. And and he asked me, he's like, you think so? I was like, I know so. Everybody had a PlayStation 2. And the only game that half the people had was some form of Grand Theft Auto.
Yep.
And that's like, it's what they do.
Like they made, some interesting games. And even I had seen them and they looked interesting. But, I was hardcore RPG back then. That's all I was buying. And then it was literally, I want to say it was literally the day after I graduated high school when I caught an article about Grand Theft Auto 3, and I was just looking at the pictures, and I was like, wow. I was like, this is, I've never even seen anything that looks like this, and I went out and bought that game that night, and I literally disappeared for the next month. Like, it was all I was playing.
In that game, you could lose yourself in it, and it only got bigger and bigger. Vice City was even bigger. San Andreas is even bigger.
Yep.
Grand Theft Auto 4 was even bigger, and then the expansions for that, and then, they kind of left us hanging for a minute, and they did Red Dead, which is still an excellent game in its own right, and I'm waiting for the announcement I mean, I can't just thinking about the next one is going to be next gen.
Yeah.
So that's going to be just as much pandemonium for that too. But we're looking at Grand Theft Auto 5, and it's like the crazy thing about it for me is the fact that this isn't a next gen game.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen them use this much work on the power that the other systems have. And I'm gonna appreciate playing Grand Theft Auto 5 that much more just thinking about
Yeah.
how long it's gonna take me to absorb all of Grand Theft Auto 5.
And it makes you wonder too, the sheer scale and all of the stuff they're showing you that you can do. Like, we get so many games now that are in pieces that you have to buy, and you can see just how much you have to do when they actually do. And I'm assuming they will when they actually do full expansions for 5, like they did with Lost and Damned and Ballad of Gay Tony. You have to imagine like how big are these expansions going to be?
Yeah.
It's kind of insane.
Yeah, I mean, I think Grand Theft Auto sets the standard in a lot of ways, and that's why they get so much repeat business.
Yeah.
Is like you said, you don't have to worry about pieces, and this is why I feel like companies talk down to consumers to a degree with their PR messages. Like, you can't justify all of that pieced out DLC when you have a game like Grand Theft Auto comes along, because Rockstar wasn't a juggernaut all the time.
No.
They earned that by what they gave us, and we in turn gave them our money because what they were selling was a product that everybody wanted. I mean, they earned that money.
They even said, somebody asked them about Bully, and they actually did, and this is recently now this year. They pretty much dropped a big hint that, we hear you, we might have something for you. They might be working on another Bully.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they said, like, we take the time to make our games right. We don't make our games annual events because, people are going to get burned out on them. They're going to suck.
Yeah, that, and they said, they also asked the representative from Rockstar about, the whole used game thing, and he's like, it doesn't affect us. We know people buy our games used, but at the same time, we have such confidence in it that we're not worried about a person trading our game in. It's like that maybe companies need to consider the question is to not how to stop it, but why is your game being traded in?
Yeah, like even Reggie Fils-Aimé from Nintendo, he said the same thing. He was like, if these companies are so worried and so affected by it, then they should be making better games because our games don't get traded back.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, I worked in GameStop. There's certain
Nintendo games just don't fucking depreciate in value.
No, you don't get a Mario back
unless it's some weird hard flop. It never depreciates.
Man, I mean, even the games that weren't that big, like the Pikmins and some of the smaller scale games, we didn't get them traded in. You don't get a Grand. People buy Grand Theft Auto, and they don't trade it in.
Yeah,
you buy Grand Theft Auto, you don't trade that in.
Exactly.
You buy Mario. I mean, it became in the same vein as those type of games where, like I said, it's not a question about if any of us are going to get it or any of our friends. We all know we're all getting it.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many times I've bought a game that I thought was great, and then I would eventually just stop playing it and trade it in or give it away to somebody because the game was incomplete. And if I wanted to complete it, I would need to buy 60 pieces of fucking DLC. And I was like, this should have been on the disc anyway, and then I give the game back.
Yeah.
I was like, they need to start. That's a big part of the problem. You have to give us whole games again. You can't just keep breaking up games because you have the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, you gonna penny pinches and nickel and dimes until you get, I guess you need.
I don't care about little BS promotions like items and stuff for pre-orders, but chunks of the story should not be missing from your game.
And then try to give us a line about how we're giving you a little more insight to our universe.
Insight to the universe. That's the last chapter of the universe.
Exactly. It
was
should
supposed
already
to
been
be
there. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's. Yeah, I mean, again, that's why we can use Grand Theft Auto as the measuring stick.
Exactly.
It sets the bar. It sets the tone for all that. Like, I was reading EGM today about multiplayer being added on. Even in Grand Theft Auto 4, when it wasn't this full-fledged mode, because most multiplayers at that time were not, it still didn't. First of all, it didn't take away from the single player,
Not at all.
and it was in its own enjoyable mode. I played that cops and robbers mode for at least 2-3 weeks straight
Yeah.
because it was just something different. But nowadays, you get a multiplayer mode, and it literally takes away. You can sense it when you're playing it that this had no place there. It was just added on to say they have a multiplayer mode, and it starts to make you think of the resources and money and manpower they could have just put back into the single player mode.
Bioshock 2, Tomb Raider.
Yep.
So,
I mean, it's weird, and I'm so glad Bioshock Infinite didn't have any form of multiplayer.
yeah.
That sealed the purchase for me right there.
Yeah.
As sad as that is.
They were focusing on what they should have been focusing on.
Exactly. But this is about Grand Theft Auto and the glory that is Grand Theft Auto 5 and the craziness that will ensue. I mean, I am strongly still considering, if it is available, that collector's bundle.
Like, I got the special edition. I don't have 150 to burn on it, but
I don't either, but there's always, I have 2 kidneys, so, I mean, that's some decisions to be made right there.
Y'all think it would beat Call of Duty?
I don't want to say. I don't really want to say. But if any game in existence could do it, it would be that.
Is exactly.
I'm not. I don't want to do it. I don't know how much. I know how many people love that game, even though I'm not into it. But
I'll put it like this: I guarantee there will be way less controversy about how good the game is versus how good a Call of Duty is.
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Even if people can try to say, "Oh, it's the same formula,"
They'll try to say that, but the bottom line is, I'm sorry, this will be my last say so on it. But when it comes to GTA is one of those games. It gets accolades. People love the game. People are constantly praising it, and it's one of those games where it fucking deserves the praise it gets. I'm sorry.
Yep, it does. They can try to make all these reasons why they think, oh, it's the same game and blah blah blah, and they're going to be the minority in this case.
Yeah,
a very 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 small minority of naysayers of GTA.
Yeah,
that's the only comparison I can give it to Call of Duty. Is the naysayers will be way less for this game than it will be for Call of Duty.
exactly.
But this was fun, just like Grand Theft Auto will be.
Yeah.
And we shall return with more things to talk about and more reasons for you guys to listen.
Yeah, I actually have links below this video. I have links to all of the trailers so far. If you're not deeply interested, if you're still on the fence about it, just check out those trailers and they'll probably make up your mind for you.
You'll backflip over that fence.
I'm telling you.
All right, we signing out.